I did not want to do this. I really didn't. But coronavirus has been essentially the only news thing going on. So that being said, I've already talked about, the death statistics and that. I'm not going to talk about my experience on trying to get toilet paper this past week. Thankfully, I got enough stored up, so I don't worried about that. But what I found entertaining was celebrities this week trying to stay relevant now that, no one's really going to watch movies or caring about what a rich person celebrity says when they really don't have anything to contribute to society in regards to this. Now people are going to go, "Oh, how dare you say a celebrity has nothing to contribute to society?" We're fine without them right now. They're not being helpful in any way. In fact, Wonder Woman, Gal Gadot, however you say the name, I'm not exactly sure. Anyways, this past week released a video. If you haven't seen it, I am not going to play it because it is cringeworthy. And this video was Gadot and her friends, fellow celebrities, singing their version, their cover of the Beatles song Imagine. Now, the song itself, the original song, it's a classic. It's a Beatles. It's old. I'm not exactly a Beatles fan myself. There are some people who worship at the altar of Beatles, and I do not. I definitely don't put them that high on the pedestal. I put them kind of low, actually, kind of unoriginal. But there are people out there, and this is one of their classic, well-known songs. Imagine, and what I find funny is that this was done as, I guess, Gadot's way of trying to stay relevant, as her way of trying to reach out to people and show that she cares about what's going on with this whole corona virus issue going on right now. And it fell pretty flat. It fell on deaf ears. And people weren't exactly happy with it. In fact, they responded saying stuff like, instead of you spending time doing these things, why aren't you maybe donating some cash to the relief funds, for research, for people who are being laid off from their jobs, who can't afford things? And it also was kind of tone deaf that there's these rich people singing this song, and one of the lines being, imagine if there were no, possessions. And they're singing this because they're rich celebrities from their nice big houses where they're self-quarantining. And that's nice if you're self-quarantining in a nice big house. If you're someone who is in an apartment, now I have, compared to like a New Yorker, I have a decently sized apartment. But even then, these four walls, they're starting to get to the point of like, I need to do something every day to get outside because I will start going stir crazy. Yes, the world right now is in full on panic mode with this virus. And there are a plethora of fake news items out there of, you have China putting it out that this is a thing of the US. You have some people saying that this is a full on hoax, that this really isn't a thing. This is a way to, take over, control, and I'll be honest, some of the measures that the government is taking, some of them, not all of them, some of them I'm finding to be a little heavy handed. Thankfully, at this time, all the states that have shelter in place mandates, for non-essential businesses to be closed, they're not like enforcing them with law enforcement at this time. So what I mean by that is a business can decide if they are considered essential or not. For example, GameStop. They have deemed themselves to be an essential service, so they are staying open during this time. There is big debate whether GameStop is or is not an essential. I would lean and say very heavily they are not an essential thing. Their argument is we're providing stuff like keyboards and that for people who need to work from home now. That's their argument they're using to stay open. I don't buy it. Essential stuff like, where you can get food, medicine, things to live, like toilet paper. If you can find any nowadays, for whatever reason, there's a big rush on toilet paper. Fallout, again, was 100% wrong. It's not bottle caps. It's toilet paper. Who knew? But doing this is showing how isolated Gal Gadot and the others who participated in this are, honestly. Now, and people on Twitter and that were pointing it out, they're saying, no possessions being sung by some of the wealthiest people in the world. One person who was a little bit snarky commented, imagine all the people eating all the rich. Again, I think maybe that's a little over the top with that as well. But it really comes back to, what are you doing to better the world? Are you engaging with it, talking with people, sharing with people, and figuring out what's going on? Or are you being a little maybe tone deaf and just trying to keep yourself relevant in this time when celebrities are not relevant? When Tom Hanks and his wife both announced that they had coronavirus, my immediate response was, who cares? They are another person. They are not more important than anyone else. Okay, Tom Hanks was Forrest Gump. Woohoo. Guess what's going to happen? Eventually, every one of these actors and actresses that you like, just like all of us normal people, are going to die. And there are going to be new actors, there are going to be new actresses who come along and do different roles. And people in the future will love them for whatever reason. Who cares who gets this? If they are celebrity or not. Now, we should care that the population as a whole, especially those who are older, immunocompromised, are at a high risk category. We should care that they are getting it, be it celebrity or not. However, if you have Gal Gadot and her friends, Will Ferrell was another one I saw on the list. Just do yourself a favor. Don't even bother with the video. First off, if you're musically inclined at all, your ears will bleed. Just warning you there. But the tone deafness is evident in the fact that they don't realize what the normal people are dealing with at this time. That during this time of fear, people are trying to figure out where they're going to feed their kids because school was canceled, where they're going to get a paycheck because they were just laid off or put on furlough because their work was closed, and this deal that Trump is trying to pass in Congress and that it's still trying to go through. It's not through yet. So, this whole thing of, federally paid, unemployment tax coming through, or unemployment insurance, coming through for 2 weeks, that's not there yet. So these are things that people are really scared of. And here, let's sing a song out of key by celebrities who are afraid that they might be irrelevant by the time this thing gets done. Now, I'm all good for a good parody and all that. So there were some comedians who saw this horrible video and they created their own version of it. Now, this version is better. And first off, it actually makes fun of things that kind of rich people do. So some of the lyrics that are on the screen there, Imagine there's no keto. You have to eat mostly carbs. I brought up all the Purell just to wash my car. And it says that the rest of the lyrics are making reference to other things that primarily rich people, like celebrities, enjoy and do, and, things that is normal for them, but we wouldn't ever even think of doing. Speaking of people trying to stay relevant in this time, Oprah Winfrey recently said that she is going to start doing a new show on Apple TV streaming, and they're actually going to allow this show to be watched by anyone, even if they don't have an Apple TV Plus subscription. Now, this new show, Winfrey said in her tweet, was that she wants to offer some hope and gather thought leaders and people going through it, coronavirus, COVID-19, to add some perspective. And at first I was like, okay, maybe she's going to bring on like actual doctors. Maybe she'll bring on, people who deal with viruses and infectious disease control for a living. And instead, what does she do? She brings on an actor, and I will butcher his name because I cannot say names whatsoever. The actor's name is Idris Elba, I guess, and his wife. And apparently, Idris recently was diagnosed positive for the COVID-19 disease, which is caused by the coronavirus. And I thought to myself, so what? It's the same thing as, when they said Tom Hanks and his wife got infected with it. Okay. So you got another rich person who has access to private doctors, private everything. They're going to be fine. They are the ones that I'm least worried about, and they're the ones that are least relevant to us right now. If this was, a Fallout, style Armageddon scenario, the last ones on the list we would need would be actors and celebrities. We would need the tradesmen. We would need, we wouldn't need IT people for a while because probably most of the IT equipment in the world at that point would be destroyed. We would need the tradesmen. We would need the mechanics, the plumbers, the carpenters, those who know how to actually produce something viable. All I'm doing, honestly, my day job is I work IT. All I'm doing is moving bits around, telling bits, ones and zeros, where to go and in what order. I won't be needed for a while in the new world if this was a Fallout style doomsday scenario. Oprah Winfrey and this Idris Elba and Tom Hanks, they wouldn't be needed either. All they could do and all I could do would be some of the manual labor workforce for everyone else to allow them to be able to do what they need to do and what they know how to do and how they do it. So I find it funny that right now, in the midst of a time when people are, sacrificing, unsure of where their next paycheck is coming from, unsure of how they're going to feed their kids, how they're going to make sure that their elderly parents are well taken care of if they potentially get ill, either themselves or their parents get ill, that these people are then coming back and saying, hey, you know what? Let's do this. Let's sing Imagine, and let's interview other celebrities that have this virus. And that is so short-sighted. What I think we're seeing here at this point in time is we're seeing this shift in society because we're starting to realize that these people who are getting a lot of hero worship for no reason at all are not helpful. It is those on the front lines. It is our scientists. It is our nurses, our doctors, the people who know how viruses work, the people who can coordinate logistics of supplies, our manufacturers, Those are the important people. Yeah, it's nice to be able to sit back and relax and enjoy a movie or a video game, you know, when we're done with the day. But in the order of life of where we're at, if we don't have entertainment, life is not going to be over. We'll figure out some sort of entertainment where we don't need high paid celebrities. And just because you're a celebrity does not mean you are more important than anyone else. In fact, you are probably less important than anyone else. You may think you're more important, and because of the amount of money you have and the amount of movies or TV shows or songs you've done. But at the end of the day, those are the things that they don't put a roof over someone's head. If, again, nuclear fallout happens right now, all the buildings on the planet are destroyed. As much as you may love a musician, as much as I may love a musician, them playing a guitar does not stop the rain and the snow from hitting me and keep me warm at night. Oprah interviewing a person does not help. Imagine does nothing. Now, this sounds all pessimistic. I think we should look at some optimism here. Now, it used to be around 48% of people who were infected have now recovered. We're down to about 40%. That number is going to continue to decline only because of the fact that the number of people being tested is going to go up. So in the next week, 2, 3, longer, hopefully not longer, but it might be longer, you're going to see the number of infected through Corona with COVID-19. You're going to see that number skyrocket. You're going to see that number increase. But the thing is, there is a good possibility that a lot of those people, those numbers have maybe been affected for a while. And because of that, this isn't new infections. This is just finding out current infections. These are potentially people who are already infected or have been already infected and, fighting through the virus or have fought through the virus already. So yes, the numbers are going to appear to get worse. But that being said, right now, from the news and driving around my neighborhood and that, what I'm seeing is people are more united than ever. I haven't seen this sort of unity in the United States since right after 9/11. And that's a good thing, that we get back and we stop the squabbling, we stop the fighting, we stop the divisiveness over what everyone believes, whether that be politically, religiously, whatever. And we start acting as people in one nation together as Americans. This is a time that's going to test us because we're going to see potentially, some new, in my opinion, excessive government overreach for control of lives. But at the same time, this is also a test on how we're going to handle this in the future. Because let's be honest here, this is probably the first time that most of us have had to deal with something like this. And the way the world is going, this will probably not be the last time. The reason I say that is we are having more and more bacteria become antibiotic resistant. We're going to have a new virus or new bacteria pop up at some time in the future as well. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when. So this is how we learn how to deal with these things come the future. Thankfully, right now, it's with a highly spreadable, but relatively low. And when I say relatively low, I'm talking maybe 1 to 3%. Relatively low mortality rate. If this was something that hit us before, like SARS or MARS or something like that, those had way higher mortality rates. Now, to be fair, they were also less viral, which means less people got them. But there will be a time, probably, and who knows when that it will be, when we get hit by a virus that will be virulent like COVID, like Corona, deadly like Mars. And this is the practice on what we have to come. We're learning the shortcomings, both at a national level as well as personal. What do we do in the future when this happens? How do we protect our families and ourselves? Right now, you're seeing a run on guns. Right now, you're seeing a run on toilet tissue, paper, food, milk, which I don't get because milk goes bad over time. And you're seeing people not know how to react and how to prepare. And to be honest, the preppers are probably sitting in their corner going, ha, we told you, and they know what there's going on. But this is a learning curve for us. Let us be happy with the fact that as a nation right now, our death count is pretty low for the number that we have infected. We'll probably see that go up. But this isn't something to go crazy over. This isn't something that is going to destroy the world. It's going to be a challenge. It's going to be something that we're going to have to work together as a country, as a community, as people, overcome. I don't believe that full government control and full lockdown is a solution, but social distancing is not something that is too egregious to ask of people. And I think at the end of the day, when we get through all this, we're going to come out better. Not in the bombastic way that Trump says we're going to come out better with a better economy than we've ever seen before or anything like that. No, we're going to come out better because we're going to have learned some lessons through this. We're going to learn how to better prepare, how to take care of ourselves, how to help take care of others. Something that we have lost in this current generation that previous generations had full well of. They knew how to take care of each other and themselves. And they weren't afraid to help take care of others. We are a very selfish generation. When I say generation, I'm talking 35, 40 and below. And the good that will come out of this, hopefully, will be that we stop being as selfish. We get to know our neighbors. We get to talk. We get to have community. We get to learn how to help each other. And we get to learn how to be a country once again. We'll no longer be just the states of America. We'll learn once again how to be the United States of America.